It was supposed to be the happiest day of their lives, but Tiffany Trump's wedding almost turned into a total disaster. The mysterious youngest daughter of former President Donald Trump was finally walking down the aisle with her billionaire fiancé in a lavish celebration fit for royalty. But just days before the big event, an unexpected obstacle threatened to ruin all the expensive preparations. What happened, and who is the Arab millionaire walking down the aisle with her? We'll tell you all the details. Let's rewind to the summer of 2018 because it's on the glamorous island of Mykonos where our story begins, with two young people from very different worlds about to collide. Tiffany Trump, the youngest daughter of then-President Donald Trump, was enjoying a well-deserved break from her law studies at Georgetown University. At 25, she was already used to living in the shadow of her more famous half-siblings. But here in Greece, she was just another beautiful blonde, soaking up the sun and the attention of everyone, especially from Michael Boulos, a 21-year-old guy with a megawatt smile and a bank account to match. Born in Lebanon and raised in Nigeria, Michael was the heir to a family fortune built on motorcycles, construction, and retail. Fresh out of Regent's University London with a degree in business management, he was ready to take on the world, or at least enjoy a fabulous vacation. Their eyes met across a crowded beach club, and just like that, the spark was lit. Neither could have guessed that this casual holiday flirtation would lead to a walk down the aisle. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's take a step back and get to know our lovebirds a little better. Tiffany Trump's story is one of a young woman trying to carve out her own identity in a family that's constantly in the spotlight. Born on October 13, 1993 in West Palm Beach, Florida, Tiffany is the only child of Donald Trump and his second wife, actress Marla Maples. From the get-go, her life was different from her half-siblings. While Ivanka, Don Jr., and Eric were growing up in the glittering world of New York high society, Tiffany was raised by her mom in sun-soaked Calabasas, California. It was a deliberate move by Marla, who wanted to give her daughter a more normal upbringing away from the media circus that constantly surrounded the Trump family. But don't feel too bad for young Tiffany. She may not have been hanging out in Trump Tower, but she was still living the good life. She attended the Viewpoint School in Calabasas, where the annual tuition is enough to buy a luxury car. As a teenager, Tiffany tried different things. She tried her hand at music, releasing a single called Like a Bird in 2011. Let's just say it didn't exactly top the charts. But hey, you've got to admire a girl for trying. She also scored an internship at Vogue, sparking rumors that she might follow in the fashionable footsteps of her big sister Ivanka. But no, she had other plans. After graduating high school in 2012, she headed east to the University of Pennsylvania, her dad's alma mater. There, she majored in sociology, with a concentration in law and urban studies. While her dad was busy running for president, Tiffany was occasionally popping up at campaign events, gradually appearing in the spotlight. She even gave a speech at the 2016 Republican National Convention, sharing some touching stories about her father that had people seeing the tough-talking businessman in a new light. After finishing her undergrad degree, Tiffany set her sights on law school. In 2017, she enrolled at Georgetown University Law Center, following in the footsteps of her half-brother, Eric. And then, fate decided to throw a certain Lebanese-Nigerian billionaire in her path. Now, who is this guy? Well, Michael Boulos was born into a filthy rich family, that's for sure. His childhood was split between the bustling cities of Lagos, Nigeria, and Beirut, Lebanon. His father, Masad Boulos, is the CEO at Boulos Enterprises, a company that distributes motorcycles, power bikes, tricycles, and outboard motors across West Africa. But it's not just that. They are also involved in a whole range of industries: construction, equipment, retail, you name it. We're talking about a multi-billion-dollar empire here. Despite being born with a silver spoon, heck, probably a solid gold spoon in his mouth, Michael wasn't satisfied to just ride on his family's coattails. So he packed his bags and headed to England for his education, graduating from Regent's University London in 2018 with a degree in Global Business Management. He later pursued a project management degree at City University London. So back to that summer in Mykonos. Tiffany and Michael hit it off immediately, their conversation flowing as freely as the champagne at the exclusive beach club where they met. They discovered they had a lot in common. Both came from wealthy families. Both were navigating the tricky waters of creating their own identities separate from their famous last names, and both had a taste for the finer things in life. Their relationship went public during Thanksgiving 2018, when Michael was introduced to the Trump family in a lavish Thanksgiving dinner at Mar-a-Lago. Michael must have made a good impression, because from that point on, he became a regular fixture at Trump family events. He was there for Christmas at the White House, New Year's Eve at Mar-a-Lago, and even some official functions. Their love story reached the best part of every fairy tale when in January 2021, just days before Donald Trump's presidency came to an end, Michael got down on one knee. He chose the iconic White House rose garden as the setting for his proposal. The ring was a 13-carat emerald-cut diamond, reportedly worth $1.2 million. Tiffany, of course, said yes. She took to Instagram to share the news with the world, posting a photo of the happy couple, excited for her new chapter. The couple chose Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump's Florida estate, as their wedding venue. No expense was spared, as Tiffany and Michael prepared for what was billed as the society wedding of the year. The guest list was a hot topic of conversation, despite Donald Trump's political connections. Sources indicated that there were really no political people at all among the invitees. Instead, the list was said to include close family friends, business associates, and a sprinkling of celebrities. Tiffany made the decision to keep the guest list relatively small by Trump standards, with the final headcount coming in at less than 300 people. It was clear that she wanted the focus to be on her and Michael's love story, rather than turning the event into a political spectacle. She had chosen a stunning Elie Saab gown for the ceremony, a nod to her husband's Lebanese heritage. The wedding was set to be a blend of American and Lebanese traditions, reflecting the couple's diverse backgrounds. The ceremony was planned to take place under a gazebo adorned with a halo of pink, blue, and white flowers. Guests would then enjoy cocktails and hors d'oeuvres as they watched the sunset over the Atlantic Ocean. Inside Mar-a-Lago, the reception promised to be a feast for the senses, with tables covered in lush floral arrangements and tall crystal candelabras. Everything was set for a perfect day. The venue was prepared, the guests were arriving, and the bride and groom were ready to begin their new life together. But then, just days before the ceremony, disaster struck. Hurricane Nicole, a Category 1 hurricane, was barreling towards Florida's Atlantic coast. It was the first November hurricane to hit the U.S. in 40 years, and it was picking up winds of 75 miles per hour as it made landfall. Palm Beach, along with 4 other counties in Florida, issued mandatory evacuations. Suddenly, the carefully planned wedding was in trouble. The staff at Mar-a-Lago were sent home, and the airport closed, leaving many guests stranded and unable to get there. The welcome dinner and pre-wedding golf outing had to be canceled. Tiffany was reportedly freaking out as she watched her dream wedding fall apart. Months of planning, a guest list full of VIPs, and a designer dress waiting to be worn. And now it all might be ruined by an uninvited guest named Nicole. The situation looked dire, with the hurricane bearing down on Florida. It seemed increasingly likely that the wedding would have to be postponed. The Trump family, no strangers to weathering storms, both literal and metaphorical, faced a tense wait to see if the weather would clear in time for the ceremony. But then, as if by magic, the skies began to clear. The hurricane veered away from Palm Beach, sparing Mar-a-Lago from the worst of its fury. As quickly as it had arrived, the threat passed, and the wedding was back on track. On November 12, 2022, under a bright Florida sky, Tiffany Trump and Michael Boulos finally said, "I do." The ceremony was everything they had hoped for, and more. Tiffany walked down the aisle on her father's arm, resplendent in her Ellie Saab gown. Michael, looking dapper in a classic tuxedo, couldn't take his eyes off his bride as she approached. They exchanged vows in front of their assembled friends and family. After the ceremony, guests enjoyed cocktails and canapés as they watched the sunset over the ocean. The reception that followed was a joyous celebration of love, with music, dancing, and heartfelt speeches from family members. Donald Trump, in his toast to the newlyweds, couldn't resist mentioning the weather threat that had nearly derailed the event, and a subtle warning to his new son-in-law, Michael, you better take care of her. He also took to the floor with his daughter to the strains of the Beatles' Here Comes the Sun, a fitting choice given the circumstances. And so, the Trump family, often the center of political controversy, set aside their public personas for the night to simply be a family, celebrating one of their own. And that's how a hurricane almost ruined Tiffany Trump and her Arab billionaire's fairy tale. It's been 2 years now, and we hope they're still as happy as ever. What do you think? Leave your comments below and remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to get notified about new videos. See you next time!